Hello everybody, today we are going to discuss deadlocks and how to prevent it from happening.
Let's start with the basics. What is a lock? A lock is used to lock some data in a database, so that only one database user or session may update that particular data. They prevent multiple users from updating the exact piece of data at the exact same time.
Now that we understand what a lock is, let's look at what is a deadlock. In a database, a deadlock is a situation that occurs when two or more different database sessions have some data locked, and each database session requests a lock on the data that another different session has already locked.
Now, here is a time for a little example. Let's create two tables. Table number 1 is for orders. Table number 2 is for accounts. So these two tables need to be able to transact. So let's go and create two transactions. Transaction 1 and transaction 2. Let's just put them in a little box. Now, transaction 1 is going to get information from orders, and transaction 2 is going to get information from accounts. But let's say transaction 1 needs information from accounts as well as from orders. So first of all, since it's connecting to orders first, it's going to put it into a locked state. So it's going to be locked. Only it can access that information. The same goes for accounts. It's also going to be locked because transaction 2 is busy accessing the information. But since transaction 2 also needs information from orders, it's going to have to try and get that information. So let's go. Let's try and get the information. But now it's locked, so it can't get that information. So it's waiting on transaction 1 to finish. In a normal situation, it will just finish, and then transaction 2 will get the information. But this is special circumstances. So transaction 1 also needs information from accounts to finish. So now, transaction 2 is trying to get information from accounts as well as orders. And the same for transaction 1, is trying to get information from orders and accounts. So they're waiting on each other to finish. Now, as you can see, this is just going to create an infinite loop and an infinite amount of waiting time. So it's pretty bad for a system.
There are three main ways to handle deadlock, namely timeout, deadlock prevention, and deadlock detection and recovery.
Timeout. How does it work? When a process is waiting on a lock, it can wait forever. One way to solve this problem is we time out the deadlock, the transactions that are busy in the deadlock. When the timeout occurs, it needs to restart those transactions to try and fix the deadlock.
Deadlock prevention has two main methods: wait to die, wound wait.
In wait to die, you kill the younger transaction and wait for the older one to complete.
In wound wait, when a deadlock happens, it either allows the younger transaction to wait or the older transaction kills the younger one.
Deadlock detection and recovery. We use a wait for graph. This graph creates a node for every single transaction. So let's create two transactions. Transaction 1 and transaction 2. A directed edge is created from transaction 1 to transaction 2. So let's create a value that transaction 1 needs. There's the directed edge. And the same for transaction 2. It's instead of that item. So, if transaction 2 releases item X, the edge between them is dropped, and transaction 1 locks the data item, so the edge can be dropped.
Now that your brain is filled with information, just watch out that a deadlock doesn't occur in there.